gone live. And it's probably the last time that I will have done my hair and put some makeup on for the year. So, so there's kind of three reasons why I'm going live. One, because I went to an event yesterday, hosted the last and chaired the last Australian Marketing Institute meeting for 2023, and nice dinner. So, yeah, looking a little bit more polished than usual. Just had my last video calls for the year this morning as well. And so, yeah, and because I said I was going to go live a few times this year, and just I had been feeling a bit dusty, as I mentioned in a previous live stream, from not having gone live for so long. It does take a while to get back into it and build momentum. So I take my own medicine and show up and do the thing that I want to be doing more of next year. But I didn't want to wait till next year. I know that I'll be doing a lot more video again next year. But I didn't want to wait until January after the holidays and after camping and all the rest to get back into video. I wanted to break the seal this year so that it's done. So I popped back on, I think it was last week, said that I was going to do a couple before the year was out, and here we are, number 3. So that's the other reason. So as soon as this is done, the camera is going off and the webcam is going away for the year, and I think I'm going to go downstairs and cook some dumplings because I'm really, really hungry after an early start. But before I did want to come on and just share a few insights. I know I shared in the last live stream. Oh, and the other reason, finally, so many reasons to go live today. And the other reason is because I have been playing around with my live stream software and tech and things like that. And the first time it was a train wreck. It was going live and I didn't realize it had gone live, and I was sitting there for 10 minutes just playing around with it. Well, and I could see from the analytics that, people have been watching, and I'd just been sitting there for 10 minutes, not realizing it was live. So then I went back and I did live, but I didn't realize it was, I didn't realize it was recording for quite some time. So there was a big gap at the front. And then the second time I started really early, and then it got cut out. And some of the platforms didn't work because I'm just playing around with streaming to a couple of platforms at one time to conserve on energy. So I'm not going doing this 3 times, same people, can only watch it on one platform at once as well. So if you've seen it once, you've seen it. You don't need to watch it 3 times. So anyway, I'm all about leverage and efficiency. And I just found a way to add another platform into this. So I wanted just to test it out and check and see. So anyway, lots of good reasons for going live. But what I did want to let you know in the few minutes that we have together is just something along the lines of what I sent out on an email today. So what I do, where I like to come up with a lot of my thoughts and insights, is to my email community. And each week I sit down and write a considered email based on what I feel is an important word for this week. And what I've been, I wouldn't even say thinking and feeling, I would say knowing. One of my clients, a beautiful client, uses the word a knowing in the knower, and as in K N-O-W-E-R. And that's exactly how it feels like. Just around what I know is that as we go out of 2022, and I hope that you are just gliding out of 2022 and not putting in too much effort and scurry and frenzy and flurry for a last minute effort, because to be honest, it's most likely not going to be that leveraged at the moment. What I'm encouraging my clients to do, and I'm not talking about your home stuff and your operations and your clients and all the rest. I'm talking more about marketing and things like that, just for context. But what I am encouraging people to do is really take a good break and do what you need to do to come back fresh. So normally I take 6 weeks off and just focus on being with my kids completely over the school holidays, and I will still be doing that for several weeks. And I have unbolted several activities for the first quarter of the new year to create more space for me to do that even more. So I already have quite a bit of space in my calendar, ongoing. And really interesting. My big word for 2023, I don't know if you have a word or not. If you do, great. If you don't, that's fine. But my word for 2023 is spacious. And so for me, that means very much about having the space available as and when I need it to do what I need in the way that I choose to do it. Not that I'm doing nothing, because that's pretty impossible for me. But yeah, so I just feel like there's a season that I want to be more present, available emotionally as well to my kids. But I also know that we are on the cusp of something huge. I know it. My Noah, it's like got a big red siren going, woo, 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 you know, like the ambulance, and go, we are going into something phenomenally big next year. Unlike what we've ever seen. In the past, we would have, I'm just whacking my microphone now, I don't know if you heard that, with enthusiasm. In the past, we would have a holiday break, and then we come back, and then we just rinse and repeat what we did last year, just maybe look a bit fresh, look a different. But this year, it's a new recipe, it's a new cake, it's a new oven, it's a new supermarket. Like, there is so much changing. And so I am coming back early because I want to, like, I know that I am uniquely positioned to be able to help people navigate that. That's what I do. As a marketing futurist, I see trends, I help people interpret them, adapt to them. That's what I've been doing for many years. And my, generally, I would say 18 months-ish, somewhere between 18 to 24 months is usually where I see things before they kind of start to filter out into the wider marketplace, and then probably 3 to 4 years before it's mainstream. That's the trend that I've noticed over the last 5 years since I've been more observant around how I'm doing this and putting it out there. This time, however, I just sense it's really different. The same strong sense that I had around several things that I talked about in, the last 5 or 6 years. If you've been in my world, you have an idea about what those things are. If you don't, hit me up and I'll send you to them. Go back to some of my old posts. Don't want to get sidetracked here. But this time I am talking about this something happened in a compressed time period. Like, literally it's going to be about 1 quarter, and that things are going to be very different in 3 to 4 months time. But there's going to be a big change in like January, February, March of next year. So but I'm not seeing that from a place of doom and gloom. I know it's going to be uncomfortable for a lot of people, maybe for me too, who knows, I don't know. But it's like when you go out and you're on the lake and you've got your boat, and if you've got a boat that's robust and it's prepared and it's well maintained and it's protected and you're a good sailor, you're not too bothered by the thought of a storm or some rain or some wind or some waves, because you know what to do with that from experience, but also you've got the resources to be able to handle that. And that's what I'm likening this to. I just feel like there's something coming. It's going to be, there's going to be some waves coming. There's going to be some swell. Don't know how big it is, but I think that's also, for people like me, like I don't tend to get so fazed by that. I look at these things through a lens of excitement and curiosity, because it's something new that's coming. And like giving birth to something is always, there's that like conception, incubation period, this growing period, but it comes to the point where it needs to come out. And for anyone who's been down that road or seen anyone down that road, well, it's a bit of an interesting situation for a little while there. But that needs to happen. And this is like, there's this big change that's been, conceived and incubating and growing around a whole mega shift around the way we do business. And a lot of it has to do with connection. A lot of it has to do with authenticity. It's around how people are connecting with each other, not just with brands, because I'm a marketer, but even with each other. And that's affecting new people in business. It's affecting established people in business. It's affecting multinational organizations in business. Basically, anybody who needs to communicate a message to anyone is noticing that it's a very different environment to communicate with now. And a lot of the rules of marketing, of which I have been a professional practitioner for nearly 30 years now, so maybe 28 years or something like that. I ran an agency for 20 years. I've mentored marketers for many years, like more than, I don't know, probably 2 decades or something, like more than 2 decades, maybe 2.5. And, like, I can't even remember what I was saying now. Gosh, that's terrible when you lose your train of thought on a live stream. And it was something really important too. I was getting really fired up. It's going to come to me. It's going to come to me. It's going to come to me. Oh yeah, I was talking about connection and how this is changing, and oh, that's right. See, I knew it would come to me. That a lot of the rules, the majority of the rules that are modern marketing, and no shade on that, because there's some things that are going to definitely stay, the foundations of the need to be strategic and creative and exercise critical thinking and be analytical and innovative, all of those things, and perceptive listening, like all of that is still going to stay. But a lot of the things that are if the 4 P's in marketing, is product and price, promotion, place and promotion. And there's people who will say there's 7 P's, 8 P's, 16 P's, whatever. I've heard it all, but just to be honest, gets too complicated to kind of remember, and it's changing all the time. I like to stick with the 4 timeless P's. Product, price, place, and promotion, and all of those are being disrupted. Product is being disrupted because what people want is continually evolving, because it needs to evolve in order to meet their evolving needs, because people are evolving, price is evolving. We're seeing a lot of extremities in both ways. We see like the proliferation of amazing stuff for free, and we also see the proliferation as prices have a wider and wider disparity as people have access to whatever they want. They're looking for different things, and they're making decisions on things other than price. That's a whole nother conversation. Place is being massive. Another word for that is distribution. So how is your product or services getting to market? And that is being massively disrupted. Like, hello pandemic, but also hello so much more other things, so many other factors that were already in the mix even pre-pandemic that just got accelerated because of that. Not to mention the proliferation of artificial intelligence coming into the scene, and the global connectivity, and just there's so many the passion for social justice and cause. There's so many influencing factors now that are changing even the way products and services are being accessed and distributed. And then promotion, which is what a lot of people kind of talk about as marketing, which is the getting the message out part. Of course, that's also been massively disrupted, especially as anecdotally, there is a massive exodus of social media, plus a lot of people are just they're exiting in droves, or they're dramatically reducing their consumption on social media, or they are going on there, but they don't want to really hear about products and services. They just want to be entertained and just zone out and chill out, or be entertained. Primarily, even email. I mean, email is so important, and I will always encourage you to build your database, build your email list. Communicate with your audience, nurture your audience. But even email rates for a lot of people are being challenged as people, like the inboxes become very, very full. And, I think this is I don't even need to go there, but all of the channels that are traditional are being massively disrupted. So there is so much opportunity there to stand out and do things differently. But and I have a lot of thoughts and insights around that I've been experimenting with. I always experiment first, and then I share with my community, and then I start to then publish those things into the mainstream as well, eventually as well. So there are things that I've been playing around, testing, exploring in the last couple of months. I'm also very conscious that the big shift that's coming in January, February is not something that we all are across yet. And so I am intentionally leaving room and leaving space and leaving spaciousness in my calendar for that first quarter to be able to move and flow and adapt and help those in my world to do that, because I truly believe this is going to be very significant. And a lot of people, it's going to take them by surprise as well. You're listening to this, so hopefully you're already across it and at least it's on your radar. But for a lot of people, they just think, oh, okay, you know, we'll get to the end of the year, like collapse across the finish line, have our break. If you're Australia, go to the beach, have your barbecues, you know, have the festive season. People close down in January, come back, and then we do it all again. Not this year. It is going to change in January, February, and March of next year. So what I am doing I've spoken what I'm doing personally about that. I don't have a concrete fixed plan for the year. You know, in the past, I would talk about, look at what I'm doing month by month, map that out, like the big plans and the big highlights. I would also look at, in my case, you know, the big things that I was going to focus on and when, and, you know, there is a lot of things that I would typically do in the planning process that I'm doing differently this year. So it's not to say I'm not planning at all, of course, but it's more back of the napkin kind of planning. I just, let's call it pencil and paper with a good eraser handy, ready to move and flow and adapt. So part of that is I will be, and as I said, normally I take 6 weeks off. I come back middle of February after my kids are settled back into the school year. But I feel like with what's going on, such a strong compulsion that's too late this year. I mean, nothing's too late. It would be fine if I tried to do it. But I feel like the space that I'm in is calling me to come back earlier and run. And that's why I'm running this marketing activation series in January, middle of January. I think, you know, I'm still going to be like doing stuff with kids that week, but I feel like I will have come back after a couple of weeks of just planning and thinking and mulling over and observing all of these shifts. And I know there will be all the insights and all the insights and strategies and big shifts that I've already seen and documented. I'm working on my 2023 marketing insights report already. And, you know, there are some of the things that will kind of just evolve and be similar, but then there's several new things going into that as well. So I can't wait to release that in the new year, but I'm not going to wait to release it. So I'm running this 2023 marketing activation series to help businesses and anyone who needs to be the face of their business, a personal brand, an expert, if you're a thought leader, if you're a professional services, a person selling your expertise, if you're a small business, you know, even if you're a business leader, and, you know, part of business leadership these days, even if you're an employee, is showing up and leading by example. And often there's that expectation to have a public voice, and that's basically marketing. So I am going to be running this marketing activation series, going to be focusing on 3 core areas: activating a brand, which is basically, you know, how you how do people feel about you, how you're communicating what you stand for, and then knowing about you. All of the stuff around energy and intent that comes behind that is going to be big next year, and how it's changing. And really about building a brand that connects, you know, the authenticity and all of that comes. It's very, very exciting. Then we're talking about, we're going to do content activation, which is how content is changing. I'm going to show you what's not working, what's working, and it's different to what was working a few years ago. There's a lot of stuff that, you know, I did and I taught that's beautiful and really, really good, but it's not appropriate for this point in time. So I actually have to say, don't do it like this anymore. This is more what's working. So I'll be showing you examples of that. And for each of those areas, we'll be doing an activation as well, which will get you focusing in the right place. So you're not confused and scrambling, because I think clarity and confidence are key moving into this season, whatever industry or space you are in. And then we're going to do a systems activation as well, because one of the things that I know also from being a mum with 5 kids and lots of sport and lots of home life and, all sorts of things, is that systems can save so much time, hassle, energy, and wasted focus when you have a system and it's clear that the different people involved in that system have a clear idea of what they need to do at any given time, and so you also do as well. So if you're the owner or principal of the business, having a couple of very simple systems are going to mean that you are actually going to get things done, but you don't want to just do it for the sake of it. You actually want to do it in a way that's going to, push you towards your business goal and your business strategy, but done in a way that's going to work in the current marketplace. So we'll be doing all of that. We'll be spending 3 days together. Each workshop will be an hour and a half, something like that. There'll be an activation. There'll also be a community running for a couple of days where we can nut out things together, and we can keep the conversation going as well in between the workshops. So right now, there is an early bird special on that workshop. It's just $122 because I have and I'm Australian, but a lot of my customers are in America and UK and Europe and even Asia. So this kind of makes the most sense why it's in US dollars. In case you're watching me going, I know you're in Melbourne and you're my friend, so what do you charge in US dollars? That's why. So $122, just one currency, it's cleaner. And then on the 23rd of December, so that's the early bird rate. On the 23rd of December, it will go up to 223, which is still amazing. So it really doesn't matter, but if you really want the early bird, get the early bird. If it doesn't matter, book after, doesn't matter. But we'll be kicking off on the 17th of December of January. And this is high value training, the type of training that organizations would normally pay me a lot, thousands and thousands of dollars to deliver. I am going to show up big time, and I am going to have an exciting time with you, because moreover, I know that it's going to be not just empowering, but I know it's going to be personally energizing. So whatever energy you're taking, even from this live, if you've watched this far, congratulations. I was planning to go for like 3 to 5 minutes, but clearly I had a bit more to say. But if you're picking up on my energy, this is the energy that I bring to business, to marketing, because I believe that when we are tapped into the things that light us up, everything else becomes so much easier. And so my desire is to do things in a very fun and enjoyable and energizing way. If something is drag, I just don't want to do it. So yeah, that's what you can expect with hanging out with me for a couple of days. So if it sounds interesting, and if you feel like you need this because you want to be across what's happening in 2022 for you and your brand, then definitely come along to the workshop. But either way, just think about how you're going out of this year and making sure that you get that space for downtime and processing and rest, which I'm sure most people are. But if you have the option, some people also cram their calendars full of stuff. And if you want to be ready for 2022, it is going to be really big out of the gates next year. So I just wanted to come in and share that, and also some insights for what I'm seeing in the new year. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, and if you watched this, pop a comment below. That would be great. Just I'd be curious to see, what you liked from it. Did you watch it? Whatever. Like I said, if nobody here is watching it, then that's fine too, because I'm putting this stuff out there because I believe in it and I know it's important, and I'm cool with that either way. I don't do this stuff for views. I put this out there because there's something in me that needs to come out. So whether it comes out here or elsewhere, it really doesn't matter. I'm just making it available to you. So I will see you on the other side of the break in the new year. Who knows? Maybe I'll jump on next week. If I'm feeling so inclined, I will always leave that open. But if not, let's connect in the new year. I'm really excited about what's in store. I know it's going to be a big disruption, and it's going to be like a bit of a bumpy ride in the sense. because change is always a bit bumpy. But I honestly believe that what's on the other side of that will be, it will be, I don't know what the word is to use because I haven't been there yet, but I truly believe that we will look back on this time and go, that had to happen for whatever reason. So that's my take on it all. Thanks for watching. Love you. Bless you.